interview of 2015, and today I am thrilled to be joined by Paul Parrish, who is an old colleague of mine, not old in age but a long time ago, when we worked together at IPC Media. Paul is currently the fundraising and marketing director of Aspire, which is a charity that helps people with spinal cord injury move from injury to independence. But the reason I wanted to get Paul along today is the whole ethos of these interviews is to inspire and motivate and to help you make it happen. Now, every day I come across people who are either stuck in a rut, don't know what they want to do next, or at a crossroads in life and not sure how to make it happen. And then there are people like Paul, who has had quite a difficult existence, shall we say, for want of a better word, due to a period of addiction up until the age of 35. And Paul wants to share that story with us because Paul did something incredible. He went from the place of addiction through to becoming what I consider to be the biggest athlete I know. And Paul actually completed the Arch to Arc, I've got that the right way around, challenge, which is a combination of a marathon, a cycle ride. He swam the Channel, and he's the oldest fella ever to do it and complete it, which I think is totally inspirational. So Paul is going to share his story with us today, and I'm so excited to have you here, Paul. So thank you for joining me. And just what I wanted to start with is, can you tell us something about your Make It Happen journey? It's probably best to start at the beginning, and then we'll work through to present day.
Yeah, sure. I guess the thing that I sort of share with people is that, I mean, you know, I work with you, and you wouldn't have been aware, which is probably, or you would have maybe had a little hunch, but addiction is a difficult thing. It's something that people hide. But I spent from really the age of 15 to 35. Any time I drank alcohol. I was just one of those people that luckily it sets off a chain reaction in my body. It's effectively like an allergy. If I drink, I just want more. And even if I stop drinking, you know, have a couple of pints, it just really bites. It keeps there, and I'll pretty much drink later on in the day, whatever. And that was kind of the pattern of my life. I didn't understand it. Obviously, working the kind of business we did, and yeah, I'd been a student as well, and all sort of growing up in the 80s. You know, if I had, say, an allergy to nuts or something, I'd just kind of avoid nuts. But I guess for people of our age and at that time, you know, and probably still today, you know, alcohol was that kind of lubricant for social cohesion. It's kind of what you did. And for someone like me who just kept getting battered, kept getting brought low by it, it was really confusing because I wanted to join in with you guys, but I just knew that if I drank something, it would take me to places I didn't want to go. It would confuse me. And I first started getting help, trying to get help when I was about 17 or 18. I knew it was in a bad way then.
So it started when you were about 15, did you say? Or was it younger than that?
Yeah, 15. I mean, basically, whenever I had a drink, I wanted to have more. You know, even, you know, I mean, probably stopped drinking. But a good northern family, we loved drinking. I just started drinking probably 13, 14. First time I was drunk was 13 on whiskey. You know, I was given whiskey by my dad was going away to Iran. I remember being really drunk, but loving it, absolutely loving that feeling. But, you know, I didn't have access to drink until probably 14, 15. But whenever I drank to get drunk. I just, you know, there's made no bones about it. And if I didn't get drunk, I felt like I'd been cheated. And the best way around it was just to go to bed because I just would like to go out more. You know, and that's how it worked. And it's kind of confusing, and certainly was then. And it was also shameful. You got that whole thing. I obviously know a lot about this stuff now, and there's a lot of us with lots of addictions and all sorts of places. But most of us feel really ashamed about it.
So did you feel like it was out of control? Did you know it was out of control, or did you think, I just need help? I mean, was it something that you just had no control over?
I think that was the thing. You kept trying to control it. So you try and, you know, just say, okay, this time I'm not going to get drunk. And then you find yourself at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's going, how did this happen again? How could, you know, I knew, you know, I've got like a big presentation the next day. How could I end up still being here at 2 o'clock in the morning drunk? So it's really confusing that you thought, you know, you're told that willpower is really important. People say to me, just use your willpower. And actually, when something really addicted to me, willpower makes no difference whatsoever. You know, it will beat you every time. And that was pretty much the pattern. I think what's confusing is you get moments of reprieve. So there'll be times when it wasn't as bad. You know, I kind of, you know, if I went out, I'd probably only have, you know, 7 or 8 pints, and I wouldn't, I wouldn't be completely like picking myself up off the floor, in some strange place. But I'd always drink heavily, and I'd say to my wife, "Well, it wasn't a bad night last night. I probably only had 7 or 8." And you look back and think, "Wow, that's quite a lot of drink."
Mm.
But so there'd be the moments of reprieve, and then there'd be the really bad moments, and it just goes to a spiral. And you'd wake up feeling so remorseful, so ashamed. And actually, the best way of dealing with that was actually to more drink. And also, it started helping controlling the way you felt as well. So you feel so lousy. It was always good to nip down to the club at lunchtime. Of course, we worked in a business, but you could do that as well.
Yeah.
And get away with it. And
that's why I would never have noticed it, because at that time, everybody was going out for lunches and having bottles of wine or having a pint with a client at lunchtime. At that point in time, there was a lot of drink around, and actually the social activities around. So I would never ever have known at that stage that you had a problem. That there was an issue with it. It was just like, oh, fun guy to go out with and have a pint with, kind of thing.
Yeah, and because you didn't realise, you'd see me every now and again, I'd be like that, but I'd be doing that probably most nights. And the other thing that you probably wouldn't have noticed was the fact that, lovely as you are to get out for a drink with, I'll find like around about 10:30, I think, well, hang on, I need to go and get really hammered now and have a great conversation with Claire, but it's not as good as when I get drinks. So I'd always excuse myself, say, I'll just leave now so I can get to the offie or something like that to make sure
something stronger or just more of?
More of, really, I mean, that was the other thing, I'd drink wine, beer, I'd drink anything you gave me, to be perfectly honest, but there's that whole thing about it. If I stuck to wine and beer, sure that I could alkies of people who drank meths and whiskey and vodka. Yeah, vodka is a big one because it doesn't smell. Well, if I don't touch vodka, I must be okay. Actually, I had to touch a lot of vodka. That's part of the vibe. But you just kid yourself that you make any excuse for what was happening, for what you were doing, but you try and make any excuse to say it can't be as bad as it is. And the thing was, it did all right at work. And I got married and I had kids, and so you had the trappings of what we thought was kind of a traditional life. So what could possibly be wrong with you? But actually, that wasn't what what the reality was. Yeah, you might have the trappings of what you thought was a normal life, and you got away with stuff, but actually, it's just getting worse and worse.
So what was the point, Paul, at which you went, right, this has to stop? Was that over a period of time? Was it one moment in time? Was it did it evolve into I've got to sort this out, or was there a point where you went, this has to stop?
There was a point when that happened, but it's probably over a period of time. Every now and again, I'd try and confront what was going on. So I sought kind of controlled drinking, rehab counselling, stuff like that. None of it worked. I'd been to AA when I was a student. I mean, it was that bad. I sat in AA meetings thinking, God, I just don't want to be here. These are old men, and it's nothing to do with me. This stuff, I don't want it. But I kind of learned a lot from that. And strangely enough, I was working a big issue of all places, and it's hard to tell whether I was actually working there or going to end up being a vendor. And a woman got the wrong number. She wanted the editorial team. I was the ad director there, and she got the wrong number and came through to me. And she was publishing a book about the early experiences of kind of sobriety in this country, about trying to sort out AA in this country. She was actually one of the first people in this country to get sober and have a long-term sobriety. And she was trying to get this book published. She started chatting to me, and I was saying to her, what, you're a drunk? And she go, yeah, I was a drunk. I just said to her, look, I'll get the book to the right people, but could you send them to me? I might be quite interested in reading it. Yeah. I remember reading this book and thinking, I've got to remember all this from going to these meetings. It kind of makes sense. It's still nothing to do with me. But I reckon that was a catalyst, because I still have a diary from November 2000, and she probably rang in about September. I know we had an awful summer holiday after she'd rung in when I just couldn't stop drinking. It was really destroying things. And then I got this diary from November. I looked back to this month of November, and I have no idea. I look at the meetings. I remember every meeting I had really clearly, even now. And being fascinated with the fact that I know that my life's about to change, but I have no idea it's about to change. But I think at some point, November 22nd, I just walked at home. I was drunk, came into the house, and just went, that's it. I've got to get help. I've got to get help. I rang someone came to see me from AA, said, yeah, you got a problem, mate. And I said, well, I'm sure I have. He left. I went down to the office, got 8 cans of Stella, drank them, didn't feel pissed, and never drank again.
Wow. It was that instant.
It was just, I went to, he said, come to a meeting. I came to a meeting. And suddenly, all those years of kind of trying to seek help, that woman ringing in, that book she sent, kind of all added up suddenly, and I just thought, actually, I can't carry on, and I'll do this.
Yeah.
The whole idea of actually, I mean, if you're an alcoholic, you can't drink. Okay, I mean, it's one of those things. Very few people can drink safely, and it's that whole thing about saying, well, okay, this is abstinence now. This is something that's defined me all my life, which has been drinking. I've done quite a bit of writing. I looked at the writing that I've done for that period when I was drinking, and it's all around pubs. It's all about booze. It's all about my heroes, people like Jim Morrison, things like that, people who died from booze. They were the people I really liked. You know, so I just kind of, I define myself through boozing, you know, having a good time. And suddenly I was prepared to say, that's not me. And it felt like I was going to lose my entire identity. I could not imagine. And it's really frightening, so frightening to think you're going to think about the thing that you think you love most. You know? And I'm not saying children, but your biggest, what you think is your biggest hobby, the thing that most defines you, and say, right, I'm going to cut that out of my life. Frightening is that. Even if you know it's so bad for you, so it's a horrible time deciding that this is going to end.
Yeah, it must have been so frightening. What? So once you made that decision, you had your last drink, and obviously from that point things changed. In what way did they change, and how did you cope with that?
Okay, the change is really different. Oh, it's really. I mean, it's not. What happens is really lovely, actually. I mean, obviously, physically, I was a chain smoker as well. But that was the other fantastic vice I had. So I did everything really well in a big way. And suddenly, I just decided to stop everything. And the first thing is physically, you just started. You know, because I was in a bad way. I was very overweight. I would sweat so much because my metabolism was working so hard. So physically, I kind of began to feel quite good. But I think it was mentally, you know, after 20 years of boozing, it was being like wading through treacle. And suddenly, I was people couldn't believe the change in terms of, you know, I was so alert and so interested, and became. I mean, I'm on antidepressants and this sort of stuff, and suddenly took away the booze and the smoking. And suddenly became incredibly optimistic. But I was really ashamed of who I was. And it's only recently I've started talking about this because there is a social stigma to it. Too many funerals, unfortunately, which made me want to talk about it. And I was so ashamed at that point about who I was and what I'd become that I thought, I've got to cover this up. I've got to do something so I don't have to tell people I've got a drink problem. So I thought, I'll tell them all that I'm running a marathon. And then I can get around it that way. Because you tell everyone you're running a marathon, that's all. You've got to go and bloody run one.
I know, I've been there.
Yeah, exactly.
The starting point that you were at, but yeah, you go, once you've said it, that's it, it's out, isn't it?
And then I thought, well, you know, because and also I thought, as a drinker, I was never interested in anybody unless they're popping up a bar. But I had this amazing respect for these people who were marathons. I could not get my head around the concept of anyone running 26 miles. There are a couple of people in the old ad business who had done that. And I was always fascinated by them. I would talk to them, but the idea of doing it myself, and I can remember hanging around outside the back of my house with tins of Stella, smoking, just thinking, no, I'll never do that. That would be something I'd really love to do. And I find myself suddenly in November the 25th, 2000, with a marathon place, still, you know, just coming out of, just really going cold turkey and just thinking what's going to happen to my body. And I did my first run, which was like a 3-mile run. I couldn't do any of it. I probably managed to maybe a mile at most. And I was in tears. I'm not joking. I'm not saying this just for. I was in tears because I was going through a massive change in my life, which was frightening me and everything. But also, I'd said that I was going to do this run. I'd got a place. I couldn't run.
Yeah.
And so it was, you know, it was really, really frightening.
Yeah.
And I did one thing intuitively, which was I realised that I'd run maybe a mile. And I thought, well, if I run a mile, maybe I could do a mile and a half in one go.
Yeah.
And I guess intuitively, I kind of got something to hit I hit something right, which was, yeah, if you do a little bit, you can always do a little bit more and a little bit more.
Yeah.
So November 25th, I started running. By the time I got to January, I was sort of up to the half marathon phase. I'm also sober, and of course, physically, I've changed like I've never. Physically and mentally, I've changed like I've never known it in my life. I'm suddenly enthusiastic about everything.
Yeah.
Pain in the arse for everybody who knows you.
Like a bouncing, like a tiger all over the place.
I was like a tiger. I was getting up early, and I was suddenly really excited, and I was genuinely excited about life. And then I was, you said about how it affect people who from you or from my wife. It was really difficult because I hadn't taken an interest in anything around the house for years. And so I want to know, what's this bill for? And what's this? And why do we do this? And she's like, we've been doing it for years. You just never cared. And so you become a bit irritated because you take an interest in things.
Yeah.
But you know, the April of that year, 2001, I did run the marathon, and it was
London Marathon.
London Marathon, yeah, which you've done, haven't you?
I've done it twice, never again.
But it's a beautiful event. It's an amazing event. And for me,
it is. It's incredible. And the thing is as well, that training aspect of it, you do become slightly obsessed because you're suddenly engrossed in a world. So you've gone from one addiction to another almost. You suddenly become addicted to running because it gets the happy hormones going. Your endorphins are, oozing through your veins. You're suddenly really focused, and actually everybody's really interested in you and what you're doing and how the hell you're doing it. Especially when for you, it must have been the same for you, coming from that space where it had felt maybe so quite hopeless and destructive.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I was on depressants. I remember that. I think, I don't know how, without talking about too much, but that feeling of hopelessness, which when people are engulfed by it, is the place that I don't ever want to go again. You don't feel that there can be any change, and that your self-loathing and your lack of self-worth is just awful. So you don't see what right you have to anything either. You don't feel you have a place because of who you've become, and it's unbelievably difficult to get out of anywhere like that. And I know there's many people who go through that, and it's a horrible place to be. To go from that to suddenly, doing something you couldn't believe you'd ever do anyway, and of course the physical and mental, as you say, it's an awakening, and you do feel. I don't want to sound evangelical about it either, because I'm not here to preach, but there's no doubt about it. Like you say, you've got the endorphins going through your body. You start to feel naturally good, and to feel good, we have to feel good.
Sorry, Paul, can I just stop you there? There's some background noise. I'm not sure what it is. There's a noise in the background that keeps coming in. Does something keep... I don't know. It just keeps talking over you. I don't know if you can hear that.
I can't hear it, no.
All right, no, it must be something in the internet. Sorry to interrupt you. Carry on.
Okay. Yeah, but to start feeling well is, from that, as you say, endorphins, it's you can't ignore it. And then it's also, for me, it was also making a huge kind of like, it's separating me from the old Parrish. I mean, the same person still exists, with all the fears and all the hopes and all that. But suddenly you're kind of a much more pure, kind of who you're dealing with all of a sudden. So I never knew when I was dealing with it. I didn't know I could never tell what the old was going to do. I just knew it was always quite scary.
So when you were doing your marathon, when you decided, right, you actually verbally said, I'm going to run the marathon, and you're doing it. Did you get help and support to help you make that happen?
With the actual marathon training?
Yeah.
I got a book because I didn't know anything about it, and I was too embarrassed to ask anyone about it because, again, my self-esteem was really low. I didn't really want to make a big song and dance about it. So I just bought a book which had a marathon plan in it, and I stuck to that.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't think for myself very well. I'm quite good at just sticking to plans because if someone tells me that, I'll be okay. At that stage, I think I'd lost a lot of my personal self, so it's quite easy for me to follow a plan. I thought it was going to take me somewhere. So that's what
the thing is with the book, it's kind of like when you do that, you don't think you can really do it. So actually, you don't want to share it with somebody. You think, well, let's just see if I can do it on my own and move it forward. So you kind of go into your own. That's what I did. I didn't join any running groups. I just did did exactly that. Bought a book and did it like that because you didn't want to admit yourself just in case you thought you might. I didn't even want to do a half marathon as part of my training because I thought if I do a half marathon, I might not be able to do it, and then I can't do the full marathon. And I didn't want to know until the day whether I could do it or not.
Yeah, I get that. I get exactly what you're saying, and it's that sort of distrust of yourself. I mean, I've always known you as a really confident person, but actually, I think all of us are never sure exactly where we fit in with these things, and I always thought it was really elitist. Of course, you actually end up doing these things. There's a lot of people like you and me, these normal people. Normal people. All right, they're normal people without addictions, but but normal
not
people.
Normal, but
They got kind of like a goal. They've suddenly decided there is a goal, and but effectively they just want to push themselves up a little bit more. And I thought there'd be ultra elite athletes and like loads of testosterone. And actually, what I really like was meeting some quite interesting people.
Hang on, we've frozen.
My whole journey. Nice people.
Okay. Well, we froze there for a minute, Paul, so I think we're back on.
Okay.
Okay, carry on.
Yeah, I was just saying, I think, who just decided to do something extraordinary, but ultimately, I think I'm quite down to earth people. I got about ultra things,
Yeah.
but it takes a lot of humility, I think. So when you think about, I don't know, when I was growing up and you did sport, especially as a boy, there's a lot of testosterone involved, and all that sort of thing, and a lot of kind of alpha male stuff. When it comes to doing big stuff like marathons and going beyond, I find the sort of people that come along are not testosterone fueled, they're not alpha. They have lots of respect for the event because they know that if I'm going to run 50 miles or I'm going to swim the channel or something like that, I know that is a lot bigger than I am. So yeah. I don't come at you don't come at it in an aggressive way. You're just like, you might let me do this if I behave well. And so I've always found that people do this sort of thing. They're quite level-headed. They're not full of themselves, and they've actually got a lot of humility. I think that helps a lot.
So tell me, how did you progress? So you did the first marathon, and then you just kept going. But I mean, how did you get from from arch to arch?
It's not all that Forrest Gump actually. It sounds like I just carried on running and that kind of thing, but I didn't really do that. One of the things about sobriety was that I used to spend a fortune. One thing about drinking heavily is that it costs a lot of money, not just in terms of booze. I was also chain smoking, but also your lifestyle. So I'd be living out kebabs, curries, stuff like that, and obviously oversleeping for my stops. I'd be spending like 50, 60 quid a week coming back from Bedford Station down to where I live because I'd always oversleep. So when you give up drinking, you have a lot more money. And I was able to do a major career change. I changed from being in the ad world to go and work for charities. And then I discovered that obviously I had this thing about doing long distance stuff. And I thought, actually, I can raise a bit of money doing that. And I tried the marathon the second time when I got a place on the ballot. And I had a shocking time. I'd been injured. I'd been injured. A really bad run. And at the end of it, I hadn't raised any money. And I thought, I'm never going to do that again. If I could do any of these big things, and then also do fundraising. So having moved to charity, I kind of did these big things, just sort of keep egging it a little bit more and more, because I seem to be able to do it. And I do this sort of step by step, so I can run a mile, I can do 2 miles, I run 26, maybe I can do 40. And
oh my God, 40, that just makes it, I mean, it's 40 kilometres, isn't it, a marathon? But to go beyond that, in miles, it's just unbelievable.
You just make that leap of faith. You just say, right, let's see what happens. It's the fear thing, isn't it? Everything's about fear, but if you just think, well...
And pain, muscle stress, pain, backache.
Okay. Yeah, that goes quite quickly. It was worth trying, and I realised, and also I could raise money. So I started raising a lot of money, and I then got to triathlons, and they became Ironman, and I did an Ironman, and then I did 3 Ironman, and people all sponsored me, and I thought, I can't do that again. And then I heard there was a double Ironman, I did a double Ironman, and then bizarrely I did something called a triple Ironman, so that's like a 7-mile run. A 7-mile swim, and then a 336-mile bike ride, and then a 78-mile run.
What?
Yeah, and I did.
That's mad.
And it was, and you can't train for that. It's all in your head, and you just decide, again, I'm going to face the fear, and just see what happens. And if I stop, I'll give it a go.
Where did you swim? Where did you swim 7 miles?
Oh, in a lake, going round like a little hamster on a wheel, yeah. And it just sort of progressed like that. But there was this thing called the Arch to Arc, and that was the shiny thing. That was the thing that I thought I have no right to even consider. So it's like it's the biggest event. It's the biggest triathlon.
So tell me what it is.
Right. So it's a run from Marble Arch down to Dover. So that's an 87-mile run, and then the really, really technical, really difficult bit is swimming the channel. So that's 22 miles straight across. People don't think too much about it. That's 22 miles. What's that? Actually, less people from the channel and climbed Everest. It's a huge swim. It's tidal. The weather can be bad. Very few people get across just on its own. But to do it with an 87-mile run
behind you.
Yeah, so you do the 87 miles, then you do the swim. And by
it's
the
funny
time
because the day that you did it, I was tracking you on, you had a tracker thing online. What was weird was I thought he's swimming the channel twice, because obviously with the currents and the tide and everything, you actually can't swim in a straight line. It's 22 miles if you swim in a straight line, but you were going right, then left, then right, then left, and I was thinking, oh my God, he's actually by the time you finished, you'd probably swum it twice.
You did. I swam 35 miles, so yeah, it was a long swim, and yeah, the tide's been back up and down, and eventually, if you don't swim fast enough, you will never finish.
Yeah.
And it says, and then you got the cycle right at the end, so it's 181 miles, so it's a massive thing, but it's all really about that run and swim, and if you get to the side, then you
cruise on your bike for a couple of hours, eh?
No, you got a chance of finishing it. But there were 75 people that had tried. By the time I signed up for it, only 8 had ever completed it. Everybody had failed. And in fact, the first guy to do it, like when I got sober, the year I got sober, nobody had ever done it. People had been trying but never done it. So it was a huge thing, and I signed up for it, and I found myself in September last year, sort of lining up at Marble Arch, thinking, well, how the bloody hell did I get here?
Oh my God, that gives me goose pimples just thinking about that. I mean, what does it take to get to that point? I mean, how do you make that happen? I mean, how do you just fill in the form and go, right, let's just give it a go? Or do you go, it's like you say, it's all mental. I mean, you've got to have a certain amount of physical training. You can't just swim the channel with no training. But what does it take to make it happen?
With that, there was a lot of, I'd obviously done a lot of the running, and I'd done a lot of cycling with these. And I always put them to one side, because I'd never, my dad was disabled, so we'd never been taken swimming as kids. So I'd never learned to swim. So I only learned to swim in 2005 when I started doing triathlons. Everyone who swims a channel is from a swimming background. It's pretty much standard. You've got to be a good swimmer. So I had to learn from pretty much nowhere how to really swim like a professional. And I kind of just listened to what people. I'm old. I never have to learn anything nowadays. And I had to learn, and I had to listen. I had to let my body do things that I never thought I'd have to do again. And it started to work. I put a lot of work into swimming.
Yeah.
And that was always a fear. So I never felt confident, because obviously it's a huge thing anyway. I knew I had 87 miles in my legs. I didn't really know what was ever going to happen. So yeah, in a way, I just thought, oh, geez, let's give it a go.
Yeah.
And then never felt worthy to be there, because I still remain Paul Parrish. I still remain the same person with all the insecurities that anyone has. But I do believe just give it a go and see what happens.
Mm. And I think so many people, they sit, behind the computers, or they sit at home and they think about it and they rehearse it in their mind over and over again. They kind of see themselves doing it, but they don't actually take that one step closer to doing it. Say, right, just say, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I agree. And do you know what? I mean, for me, and I don't know what other people are like, I sometimes think, am I embarrassed? Am I really scared of being ridiculed, or that people will think less of me if I don't complete it? And when I lined up at Marble Arch, I thought, I know there's a lot of people following me here, and I'm really worried, because what will they think if I don't finish? And so I think that's one of the big things that block us. And of course, I don't think anybody feels any different about you. If you ran the marathon and did all that training, but you stopped after 16 miles, you've given it a go. You've run 16 miles. It's a lot more than anyone else is ever going to run. Yeah. So give it a go.
Yeah. So I suppose, Paul, if you were going to advise, say somebody wants to do a physical or any challenge in life, what would you say? So if someone's sitting there thinking, oh, maybe I'll give that a go, what would you say? How would you advise people? What 3 things would you suggest that they do in order to make anything happen, really? Never mind whether it's a physical challenge, it could be a work challenge, it could be, a life challenge. What would your suggestions be?
Okay, first of all, decide that you really, really want to do it. I worked in a hospice for 7 years. I have something what I call the 2-year rule. So when you work in a hospice, you see a lot of people who've never thought that their lives are going to come to an end. And I put a rule in, which is, are you sure you want to do this? Because I give it the 2-year thing, which is basically, if I had a diagnosis, I had 2 years, is it one of the things I really want to do? And if it is, that's your first step. It's like, right, well, you need to do it, because you don't know what's going to happen in your life. So do it for a start. So weigh up that you want to do it. Then the other thing is starting it. So I, believe it or not, I'm a really lazy, but I'm still phenomenally lazy. So the hardest thing for me is...
I find that really hard to believe.
Oh, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. So I will spend ages procrastinating. Oh, should I put training shoes on? Should I go down to the pool? But you've got to do that. You've got to do that. And if you want to learn to play the guitar, or you want to learn to speak Spanish, or you want to become an artist, if you don't go to the lessons, if you don't start doing that, if you don't sign up, you'll never do it. You don't want to. If you want to write your book, you've got to write that first page, and you've got to start it. So you've got to do that. And then the other, I'd say that's what a couple of things. The third thing is, I can promise you, this is the only preachy thing I'll do. If it is something you really want to do, no matter how hard it is to start it, if you give it 10 minutes or 15 minutes, after that 15 minutes finished, you will feel better than you did when you started. And you have those things that hang around your head, like, oh, I know I should go to the gym or whatever. And it's so difficult. But you always know, I can guarantee you always feel better afterwards.
And it's so true that, and this is what I talk about all the time, it's break it down into small chunks. It's kind of, I went out, January, right, I'm going to do some more running. So I went out, and actually I haven't run for a few months because I've had a sore hip. But anyway, I thought I'll just give it 10 minutes. And I think people think they go out, right, I've got to run 5 kilometers straight off, or, I've got to write the first chapter of my book, or I've got to, learn 5 new sentences in Spanish. And actually, even if you just start with 1, or, the first paragraph of your book, or the first, whatever it might be, it's those small steps that just get you started. You're so absolutely right.
I actually say to people, do something you actually know you could have done a bit more, because next time it'll motivate you to do a little bit more. So actually come out thinking, oh, I cheated a bit there, I'll do it properly next time. You've got started, you've done it. Pick up that guitar, learn that new chord, have a go at that strumming pattern, whatever it is that you need to have a look at. I mean, for me, my thing is exercise, obviously, and I get a sense of well-being from it. But I also know that physically, what to do it better.
And what sort of support do you have around you now, Paul? So if I suppose 2 things really. What's next, and what support around you do you have to enable you to make that happen?
Do you mean to keep sober, or to keep doing these events sort of thing?
Well, is that what the plan is, to do more of these events? What's your next Make It Happen challenge?
Right, okay. My next Make It Happen challenge is not to do events, actually. I want to keep the Arch to Arc as my big shiny thing. That's my FA Cup. That's my that's the big one. That's my K2 and my Everest. And I don't want to do anything to ever take away from that. I got lucky. I was the oldest man that's ever done it. I was also in the end 6th fastest, so when I did it really, but because it was a long distance, I kept it real, and I don't ever want anything to take away from that. I think anything that I try and take on to try and better that would just be contrived. That's my ethic. I can put that on the mantelpiece. And I've learned a lot about the things I really love, like being outdoors, and I want to concentrate more on that sort of thing. So it's lovely to be able to just run through the night. I love sunrises, so I've got a thing about sunrises. So
sorry, can you say that again? Sorry, there was some background noise.
I've got a big thing about the sunrise, about being there for sunrises. Because for me, for many years, I never saw sunrise. I never saw the morning. When I got sober, I realised that weekends are twice as long, and I love the sunrise. And for me, it's
amazing! I love a sunrise.
Yeah, so doing events that allow me to do that kind of stuff, getting up early, but I don't want to do anything big, and I want to get the balance back. For someone like me, as you can probably tell from my story, there's not been lots of balance. It's one extreme the other. And I'm still at Port Parrish, and I've got a big distance between the old one and the new one. And I just want to get, not middle ground, but I just want to have a more balanced Port Parrish. So it'll be, actually, then we've got writing my novel would be nice. So opening that first page of my book.
Okay, so have you written your first paragraph?
No, I haven't followed my own advice.
There you go.
Actually, I've done loads of... Exactly. I have done loads of first paragraphs, but never ones that I've liked.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing, Paul. You know what, Paul? I just find it totally inspirational that somebody can go from such a place of, devastation, really, to somewhere that is totally inspirational, is totally focused, is totally energizing and totally motivating. And I'm just, just congratulations. It's just an incredible journey, and I hope that, that you can continue to make it happen, and I'll be looking forward to that book. when it comes out and it's sitting on the shelves, #1 bestseller. Because I think there is there's such a lot for you to share, in terms of the, not only the practical side of it, but the emotional side of how you got to where you were, and, and then going on to doing something that's so incredible. It is just totally inspiring, and thank you so much for sharing that wholeheartedly with us. I mean, there was no holds barred there. You really, laid it down how it was, and I think that's really important. I think a lot of people will find that inspiring.
I hope so. And I hope if it helps one person, to come out of that pit, that I've done my work, and people get
absolutely
inspired.
Yeah. So I think we've got some sound issues on this, but I'm hoping when I play it back, it won't be too bad. But thanks a lot, Paul. And is there anything that we can do to help you? I know in terms of fundraising, what are the things that you are raising funds for currently?
Yes, I work for a charity called Aspire. That's really good, because I didn't mention any of that, did I? I work for a charity called Aspire.
I like to build it in. You're giving to us, and we like to give back.
Yeah. No, you're right. And when I got into triathlon, I joined a triathlon club in St Albans called Triforce, and all the fundraising, every event it did, it insisted on fundraising for this charity, which I am now the fundraising marketing director of, called Aspire. Right. And that was because it had one of its best athletes was this amazing policewoman called Paula Craig, and she had run the marathon in under 3 hours. She was really a top quality athlete, and she had come down. She was finishing her training ride. She was just outside St Albans, and ironically, a retired copper who forgot his glasses was coming down the road. He was using the curb to judge his distance. He went to the back of her and broke her back.
Oh.
And Aspire helped her and got her back on her. She became the first person to both run and push the marathon, and she came second in a wheelchair when she did it. And she'd used Aspire, she'd used all our facilities. We rehoused her. She carried on with the police force and ended up becoming a DCI. We got her back her independence, and she became a very successful policewoman and got the MBE. And
amazing.
And it was this charity that helped her, and it's really ironic that sort of 8 years after all that, and part of my rehabilitation as well, I ended up working for this charity. So I raised the money for it. I raised £23,000, which I'm really delighted for.
That's amazing.
And I have a Just Giving page, which is www.justgiving.com.
Okay. Well, I'll make sure that the link is below the video and in the Facebook group when I put this up, Paul, so that people, if they'd like to donate, and I'm just so thankful that you've shared that story, and I think it's amazing in terms of what you've achieved, and if we can do something to give back, then that would be great.
Yeah, that'd be really kind of people do.
All right. Paul, thank you so much. It's been brilliant, and I'm looking forward to sharing this with our peeps. And if anybody's got any questions, then please pop them in the Facebook group, and I'm sure Paul or I will be happy to answer them for you. So I'll speak to you soon, Paul. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, lovely to see you again.
See ya! Yay! Good old connections. That's what we like. All right. See you soon.
See you. Bye.
Bye.